Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, I should say. Sunday night, day after Shore Conference seeding came out. A bunch of good games going on at Homedale. Shore Conference teams are not doing well today, as we see. RBC the only team to win. So far on St. John Vianney, the last update, they did retake the lead up by four with 4 minutes left against Montclair. That's the coach's choice. Pretty good event over there. But we have a special guest that I am going to let Doug introduce.
All right, so today our special guest is Coach Jerry Bruno, coach at Mondon/Donovan Catholic from 2010 to 2017. Coach Bruno had an outstanding record of 126 and 54, four B South championships, coached six 1,000-point scorers. He's an awesome basketball mind. You can sit and talk basketball with him forever. He's very well respected by his players and peers. He's one of the nicest guys I know, and I'm glad we can call him a friend and a friend of the show. So welcome, Coach Bruno.
Thank you so much, Doug. I like that intro very much. Yeah, just try to pick my brain tonight. I'm ready to go.
All right, good.
All right. So real quick, me and Doug are going to go through the games that we went to this week. A lot of exciting games. First game we went to was Shore Regional at Ocean Township. It was hyped up. It was going to be the game to decide who was going to be on top of C North. Both teams had one loss going into it. Ocean came on top convincingly. They pretty much controlled that game. Probably midway through the first, they took over and never really looked back. But Doug, what do you have to say about that game?
From the start, it looked like Ocean was ready for them. And Shore didn't play poorly. The first quarter, I think it was 10-6. The second quarter, Ocean kind of opened it up, and after halftime, it was all Ocean. But Ocean had it. Shore, you get what you get out of Drehos, and you're going to get what you get out of Fury. But Conley Smolikoff, who's been pretty consistent this year, was shut down by Ocean. No points. And I think that kind of derailed Shore's chances in that game.
Yeah, very rare. No stats by her, and we know Riley, the heart and soul of that team. But Conley's had a very good season this season, up until that game. So hopefully she could. She had a nice game against Old Bridge this weekend. So hopefully she stays on track as we get into the postseason because Shore's going to need her.
And give Coach Lazor credit. He had Drehos covered and double covered wherever she went, all over the court. He kept betting in the middle to prevent them from driving. And Ocean was just on fire. You knew it was going to be a good day for Ocean when Caden Clark, who by all accounts wasn't supposed to play, starts the game and hits a three from the corner to start the game. So you knew right then it was probably going to be Ocean's day.
Yeah, the Clark sisters, they couldn't miss that game. They were shooting the ball very well. And they got some good help off the bench from Caroline. I'm not going to try to pronounce her last name. Yeah, the freshman.
Yeah,
couple steals late in the third quarter, plus foul shot, layup and one. Really provided. She was pumped up. You saw that energy out of her, and hopefully Ocean could keep getting some more quality minutes out of her because that's somebody off the bench. Just in case one of the Clarks get in foul trouble. Be nice to have somebody where you're not going to lose that much off the floor if one of the Clarks have to sit for a little bit. But congratulations to Ocean. Rebounded, didn't let that loss bother them, and they went to work. Next game, another big game. St. Rose, ranked number 3 by us, against RBC, ranked number 2. Pretty close game. A game, a lot of talented freshmen on the court. Everybody, RBC has, the 5. Well, they have 6 freshmen. 5 played against St. Rose. Addie, what a game! Her breakout game this season. Kind of took over in the third quarter. Jada Lynch had a pretty good game as well for St. Rose. Those two probably 1-2 in the Shore for freshmen. And, Tessa Carmen, one of her biggest games of the season. She couldn't really be stopped underneath. And that was one of the things I felt St. Rose was missing Maggie Kavanaugh. I don't think Tessa gets as many easy takes to the basket. Somebody tough like Maggie under there.
St. Rose, since Kavanaugh's gone out, kind of up and down. But what we've noticed a lot is that ball stalls a lot in their offense now that Kavanaugh's not there to distribute. So there's not as much movement. There's not as much talking. There's not as much creativity without Maggie. And I think down the stretch, that kind of hurt St. Rose in this game.
Yeah. Update, St. John Vianney did win by 4. So there we go. 2-3 on the day for short teams. Yeah, but I agree. St. Rose had that big run at the end of the first to the halftime, 20-2. Got out to the lead, but RBC came out red hot, and Joe started mix and matching his lineup. Instead of going the 5 upperclassmen and the 5 freshmen, he was putting one in at a time, switching it up till he found the best rotation, and the better team won.
Yep.
Last game I went to, Doug wasn't there. I went to go see Jackson Liberty play Brick Township. Walked into the gym, and big surprise, Ari was going for 1,000 points. She needed 18. She ended up scoring 21. Congratulations. She's been a workhorse since her freshman year. Never takes a play off. Came close to averaging double-double as a freshman year. COVID year, you kind of throw that year out. It was tough for everybody, but led the team in scoring last year and rebounding last year. On pace to do that again this year. Liberty pretty much dominated that game thanks to Ari, too much underneath. And Brick shot the ball well in the first quarter. Jackson made some adjustments. Brick also went cold in the second half, and Jackson ends up winning by 20 or so. So, but big story. Congratulations on Ari. What a very nice girl. We had her on the podcast last year. So, and good luck the rest of the season. I think they're the 8th seed right now in Group 3. Jackson Liberty. So, all right. Now the fun part. Shore Conference Tournament.
Here we go.
So, no surprise with St. John Vianney with the 1 seed. I guess everyone could agree with that. And no surprise, really, RBC, the 2 seed. Really felt whoever was going to win Thursday was going to get that 2 seed between RBC and St. Rose. And, RBC won, obviously. 3 and 4, a lot of debate with St. Rose and Manasquan. Now, Coach, this would be a good question for you. On resumes for the full season, I have St. Rose, to me, has the better resume. Common opponents, one common opponent, St. Rose won by 20, Manasquan won by 6. RBC, another common opponent, Manasquan lost by 17, St. Rose lost by 6. They went 1-1 against each other. Manasquan did get the win the second game. What if you were in that meeting, where would you think you would have leaned towards for that 3rd seed?
Is that a question for me or Doug?
Yes, for you.
He already knows my answer.
It's a tough choice. I've been in those seating committees, and there's a lot of jostling for position. And obviously, you want to try to avoid St. John Vianney in the first round. So I don't know how much discussion was taking place exactly and who was jostling for position. I don't know who the representatives were this year. There's always one coach per division.
Yeah.
But if I just had to make a decision myself, I'd probably just leave it St. Rose 4 and Manasquan 3.
Okay. Doug,
I agreed with that. I just thought into the tournament, Manasquan was playing better. Obviously today they took a waxing from Ewing.
Right.
But I thought if they played each other again, and listen, you could say with Maggie Cavanaugh, without Maggie Cavanaugh, and you could say it's not fair to bring, but you know what? She's not playing. And if she doesn't play, I think Manasquan wins. If she does play, it might be a different story. But until we get a definitive word that she is or isn't playing, I thought Manasquan should be 3 also.
I think Manasquan caught them on the right day. It was the first game without Maggie. They played good against Immaculate Heart, lost at the buzzer. Then they beat Albertus Magnus, tough New York team. And they didn't look bad against RBC without Maggie it's a few points and late in the game. So that's just my debate. I know somebody called and told me the last game head to head means a lot. I look at the overall from the first week of the season, and to me, St. Rose has the better resume. But it's like NCAA tournament too. The later part of the season does way more than the beginning part of the season. So
right, you want to see who's playing well at the very end of the season, who's hot, and who's doing what against what type of team.
Now, with that argument, Barnegat should have been ranked ahead of Central.
I don't agree with that.
Really?
I really don't.
Well, you know Barnegat well because I saw you at 2 of the games.
That's right, exactly. I agree with that, and I think so does Tammy. Only because in the division they had more losses than Central in the division. And that's got to carry some weight. Mm-hmm. So in that respect, I think Central deserved the higher seed than Barnegat.
Now they split, right, in the regular season.
Yes.
Barnegat and Central. And we caught the last game where Barnegat Central. So I know Central led that division for a long time. Barnegat didn't play their best ball early in the season, but as you know, they started playing a lot better towards the end of the season.
Oh, absolutely.
We don't know about reps and who was fighting for who, but from my eye, watching that game and how teams are playing at the end of the season, maybe Barnegat could have been a higher seed than Central.
Well, Barnegat went into that game knowing that if they had won, Manchester wins the division outright. So they had a lot riding on that game. And to Tammy's credit, she was very, very well prepared for that game.
Yeah.
And both offensively and defensively.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it might have been the best game they played all season. And I only saw like maybe 2 or 3 games of theirs all year, but the games that I saw, that was probably their best offensive and defensive effort.
Yeah, they definitely did a very good job on both sides of the court that game.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The other debate with the seeding, it seems, not getting a lot of attention, but some people bringing it up. Rumson 6, Ocean 7. Some people say, Ocean won a division, so they should be higher. Rumson did play a tougher schedule throughout the whole season, but they finished second in the division, dropping both games to RBC.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think you would have had those two? And you got to throw Toms River North in there too, because they only had 2 losses all year, went undefeated in their division as well in A South. Where would you think you would have had those 3 seeds, the 6, 7, and 8?
I would have had Rumson Fairhaven at 6.
Okay.
I think that's the right place for them. Ocean's a good team. They won the division. I saw them on tape one time. I was very impressed with their offensive schemes. Defensively, they go after you. They don't hurt themselves. I also saw Toms River North in WOBM, so I saw that team. And Toms River North is hot right now. They're playing really well. Homedale, maybe if you give the edge to the weight of the schedule, Homedale played a tougher schedule. To toss up that 8-9 could have gone either way, but it's actually the death seed because the winner gets 1.
Yeah, so, the 8-9 really doesn't matter when it gets.
It doesn't really matter, but in that case, Toms River got the home court advantage, so
right.
In that game, I'll let you know what I think later on. But I
Actually,
think that's the right seeds.
neutral court. Actually, that game.
Oh, it's a
The
neutral court?
Yeah, quarterfinals, neutral court. It's at
Oh.
Middletown South, I was told today.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll favor the home Delph.
A
So you
little
don't have
closer
to travel
drive.
that far.
So, and I understand, they did play last week, and Toms River North got the victory. I know Homedale was missing their center, Mackenzie.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a very close game. I think it was a 5 or 6 point game. So, but their starting center was out.
Is she back now?
She will, from my understanding, she will be back for the show conference tournament.
Probably still be a close game nonetheless.
Yeah, it'd still be. That's a good matchup too, because
absolutely
you got
they match
Megan
up well against each other.
Yeah, both got some height, and they both got some, good guards that could play. It's good. That would be a very fun quarterfinal game.
Yeah, and two teams basically that don't beat themselves.
No,
they take care of the ball. They know what they don't try to do too much. They play within themselves. They follow their offensive schemes very well. You have two good coaches, so 10 times it could be 5-5. You just don't know.
Yeah, and the last time I saw North was against Jackson Memorial when they clinched the division, and each starter had 2 or more steals. So one had 5, 2 had 4, another 2 had 2. So they're tough defensively, and with Megan Clog in the middle.
Wait, so they're 8-9, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they wouldn't play in the quarterfinals. They play in around the 16, which would be home court advantage for.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
you're right.
The winner of that
I
game.
thought so, but I wasn't sure.
Right, the winner of that game would then be the death game against St. John Vianney.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Good. I was advancing 1 round.
Yeah.
All right. So 10 seed Red Bank Regional, 11 Shore Regional. They both get the extra game, and if they were looking for extra power points,
and avoid the 9 seed. So
and they both avoided the 8-9 seed.
Yeah.
So, which kind of figured with Shore, with them losing, they were gonna drop a couple spots when they lost to Ocean, that they were gonna probably get out of that 8-9 seed.
I think when those seeds came out, actually, if I can interject here, when Truhan saw that he got a 10 and he's in the same bracket as RBC, and he was hooting and hollering.
Yep.
I'm serious. I know Johnny really well, and I think he loves that position right now.
I could tell you he does. The amount of phone calls I got the last 2 days.
Okay. Yeah, I know Johnny well.
I got yelled at pretty good for putting him number 9.
Well, he didn't want. Hey, nobody wants to go begin. Like death sentence, man.
So that 11, 12, Howell, 13, Jackson Memorial. So I'm going up and down this. 14, Manchester, 15, Rainey. We'll go through the matchups after I go through all this. 16, Marlboro, 17, Toms River East, 18, Long Branch. Where's 19 at? 19, Beach. Point Beach. 20, Monmouth. Where's 21? 21, Central Regional. 22, Barnegat, and 23, Hamburg. So Henry Hudson did not qualify. I thought they were 500 going into the week, right?
I think they lost the game on Friday. Yeah.
And I know Keyport was desperately trying to add a game just to say they made the tournament, but they couldn't get anybody for Friday.
When the seeding committee meets, it's we each get our sheets and who beats who, what teams played what teams, and won and lost by what margins. And all in all, I think the seeding committee does a hell of a job trying to get the girls in the right position. So if you look at this particular seeding, you might want to make an argument Jackson Memorial instead of Manchester, flip-flopping them, but they're never going to be off by more than 2 seeds. Just like we were talking earlier about St. Rose and Swan.
Yeah. Could flip-flop,
So I have a question for you, Coach. In these seeding meetings, you talked before about politicking and trying to get, who's jockeying who and trying to get where. There's some old old guard, old veteran coaches that are in the meetings, and then there's some new coaches that maybe it's their first time being in a seating meeting and being a division
That was
rep.
me. That was me one year. I was a newbie.
So, do you think sometimes the new guys are a little afraid to speak up, maybe, or just maybe take what the older guys say and say, okay, I guess they're right. They've been here for 20, 30 years. And, is there any of that goes on? That there might be some intimidation, not necessarily
not intimidation in the truest sense of the word.
Right, that's right.
But there are the heavyweights in the room, and there's newbies like me, and there was two other people in the room when I was one year I was my rep would be South. But we all get our notes sent to us by, I forget, whoever the head of the division, the committee is, and we go in there with our own seed, and then we get to listen to each rep talk about each team, because each rep has talked to those respective coaches who made the tournament. So the rep has gotten input from those respective coaches. And then, I think we're smart enough to understand that there might be some give and take in certain situations. Like, for example, you have the 8-9 game. Nobody really wants to be in that 8-9 game because, you're going home. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen an 8-9 beat number one. In all the years I've been living down here, much less coaching. I might be wrong. You, Doug, you might know, but I've never seen it. So no one wants that. So there might be politicking there. And then again, you might have politicking on like a division leader like Manchester. Okay. Sometimes, even though, let's say, a B South, Manchester wins, but they may have a lower seed. A higher seed than who they're playing. They get a home game. I do believe that carries some weight as well. So there's a lot of give and take, but I think it's pretty much straightforward because we've all done our homework well in advance. Each rep talks about the teams, and then the year that I was there, Joe Montana was the one was overseeing things. We put things on the board, and it's pretty cut and dry. It's black and white. It's right there. Okay, this team beat that team head to head. Just like I said, Central and Barnegat. To me, that was a no-brainer. So it's an interesting scene. And, truthfully, it's like 3 hours in there.
Yeah.
I think that's how long it was yesterday.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour meeting, but I think it's all productive. And I think at the end of the day, they get it right. Or darn close
to it, right? Yep.
So one more question I got. Doug kind of asked. So you're the rep. Say you got two teams in your division under. Say you win the division, you got two teams also in. So you would ask both those coaches where their opinion of
thought they would. Where do you see yourselves? And that conversation could be well over an hour. Sometimes over the phone, sometimes texting, sometimes emailing, and you're talking even a week or so ahead.
Yeah.
So the rep knows where each of those coaches want to be. So
what if a coach, say you reach out to a coach and they don't get back to you? Like a coach that qualifies.
It's all on me.
Okay.
But they do a good job. I mean, each rep does their homework.
Wow.
And there's some give and take, like I said, but all in all, they do a damn good job of putting the girls where they belong, and then we let the seed just where they fall.
Bottom line is, if your team's that good, it's going to go as far as it's going to go.
That's right, exactly. And you're going to get some upsets. I don't think I've ever seen a bracket go without an upset or two. I mean, I have some upsets in this first round, I think. I don't know. You guys might think differently, but and we see games from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So, and a lot has to do with the matchups. Team A beats Team C, and Team B beat Team C. Maybe Team C can beat A because of the matchup.
Yep.
You don't know.
You see that all the time.
Right. And then you have injuries. Sometimes girls do get hurt, unfortunately, right? close to the seedings and they miss a game, then that throws everything off.
Yep.
So
and there is some of that going around too. There's a couple season-ending injuries that have
people
happened in
look
the
at
last
Monmouth.
couple of weeks. So
Take a look at Monmouth, how good Monmouth was in the beginning of the season.
Playing great.
I mean, in a tough division,
Mm-hmm.
and they lose their two best girls.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw them on tape recently, and I forget who I watched them against. I saw them against, I believe, Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really impressed. At the time, I didn't even know they had a girl missing. I was just watching the game on tape, and I was impressed with Monmouth.
Yeah,
She's two little gutsy guards. They have a big girl had a brace on her knee. They get after you defensively. They run their offense, the man-to-man sets beautifully.
She's a very good coach.
Yeah, I don't know the name of the coach.
Coach Forbes.
Laura Forbes.
Yeah, does a really nice job. So, and look where she wound up. I think she was what, 8-2 at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Look what
with a win over
do.
Shore.
That big win over Shore Regional.
Yeah.
So. All right, you ready to do some predictions?
I'm ready.
Go.
All right. We'll start up top. Okay. 17 and 16 and 17 seed. Marlboro 16, Toms River East 17. Doug, we'll let you go first.
Okay. So this will be a good game. I think Marlboro has too much experience, too many big game experience, a lot of short conference tournament experience. Mm-hmm. Coach Hagenson always has his team ready to go. Great X's and O's guy. East has two great juniors, Giannis Shupak and Sydney Murphy, and they're leading the team right now. But I think it comes down to too much experience from Marlboro, and I think Marlboro gets the win.
Coach?
I agree. And I've been involved with Toms River East for many, many years. As a boys assistant coach, girls assistant coach. I know Kevin really well. He runs a nice program. The girls always play hard. But I think that even though they're playing at home, which might give them a slight edge, I think the experience factor playing tougher games is going to prevail for Marlboro.
I have Marlboro as well. You know, same thing Doug said. You know,
sorry, Kev.
Yeah. Erica DeSimones, Castro. They've been, you know, they're seniors finally. I feel like I've been watching Erica. You know, she's been getting a lot. She got a lot of minutes as a freshman. Very good point guard. Castro, when she's on, one of the best shooters. Toms River East plays very hard defense no matter who they're playing, but right. I'm gonna go with Marlboro as well. Moving on.
Okay. And let's be honest, that's kind of a death game also, because round of 16 you're getting St. John Vianney. So
yeah, that's right.
It's always,
exactly.
Yeah, it's always nice to get a win though. Always nice to get a win.
Oh yeah, right.
When you're looking at that game, you think the coach focus on getting a win to get those extra power points?
Well, they don't get any power points now, do they? I think the power points are over.
No, I think the deadline's next Friday.
The deadline's next Friday. Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know at least for soccer that works. Short conference tournament power points so it count.
Well, Toms River. What's Toms River? A Group 3 school, right?
3 South. Yeah.
Group 3 South.
And what's it? No. And Marlboro's
4 Central. 4 Central.
Oh, 4.
Yeah.
Well, that'll give. I'm sure Kevin will talk that up.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I'm sure he got practice today, but he'll certainly do that tomorrow. Yeah, I didn't know that, but that would be. You know what? That's added incentive for East to come out and do their best.
It could help them a little bit in the seeding for states.
I didn't realize that.
Yep.
I still pick Marlboro, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Same here. Same here.
Going down a little in the bracket. 12 seed Howell hosting Central Regional 21 seed. Doug, we'll let you start.
So I think we talked a little bit about Central, and I think some of the late season losses cost them a higher seed. Howell's played a tougher schedule. They have a tough division.
Mm-hmm.
They played on January 6th, and Howell won 44-39. And Central lost to Lacey last week, and Howell just blew Lacey out on Thursday. So for those reasons, I think Howell gets the win.
I concur with everything that Doug just said, and for those reasons, I would also take Howell. That's a pretty simple decision on my part there.
Yeah, I agree. Howell's played. Their toughest losses obviously came to Trinity Hall, and they split with Marlboro this year. But Howell was hovering around second in that division all season.
Mm-hmm.
They got good senior guard and carry to handle the ball, and they got some height. So I'm going with Howell as well to advance.
Boy. We're all
13.
unanimous on the first two picks
Yeah,
here, guys.
first two.
Who's going to be
trouble.
the one that's going to be
That's trouble.
the difference maker here?
13, Jackson Memorial hosting Monmouth. Doug, you could lead it. Doug, just keep leading the way.
That's
Okay,
it,
I'll
Doug.
just keep leading the way.
You have more info in front of you.
Like Coach said before, Monmouth had a great season going early in the season before injuries took a hold of the team. Both teams' common opponent lost to Ocean. But I think Jackson's size and speed will wear Monmouth down, especially not at full strength, and Jackson will win the game.
Yeah, I think so too. I would think that would be a close game for maybe a quarter and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Monmouth doesn't have a deep bench at all, at least what I saw on that one tape that I had seen them. I haven't seen Jackson Memorial play at all this year, but I know they're well coached. I've gone and played Jackson Memorial many times. So I know the type of programs she runs over there. Rach is a good coach. Playing at home, I think Jackson by double figures for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to add, Zoe was out beginning of the year.
Right.
When they played Ocean, it was her first game back. It took her a little bit to get into it. In the last week and a half, she's been, back to Zoe from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then add, Chloe Messer, who, Doug, we saw in the Donovan event. And then I sort of follow a week against Toms River North. Once she's on, she's hitting threes all over the floor, and she could get to the hoop.
And she can flip a switch. She could be having the worst game ever in the first half to come out and score 20 straight. That's just the kind of player she is. So, but yeah, it's and don't forget, Rachel got a lot of her freshmen a lot of minutes so far this year. So that's actually going to help them come more towards states, but definitely in the first round or two in the short conference.
Yeah. So we all agree on Jackson Memorial.
All righty.
All right. 14 seed Manchester hosting.
I have a special guest. Hold on. Sorry.
All right. Hosting Point Pleasant Beach.
We got Point Beach, Manchester. Okay. So the story for Manchester is going to be how far can Devin Quigley carry the team? So I think back, and Coach Nick might be a little young, but Coach, you and I'll get these references. Danny Manning, 1988. Carmelo Anthony, 2002, 2003. Two teams where one person carried them to a national championship.
Yeah.
So
sure.
How far can Quigley carry him? Point Beach we saw Point Beach play. Nick and I saw them play. A great young team. They have some talent, but I don't think they've seen somebody quite as devastating as Devin Quigley. On the season, Point Beach is averaging 44 points a game. On the season, Devin Quigley is averaging close to 36 points a game. So if she gets any sort of help, I think Manchester wins this game.
Yeah, this girl, Devin Quigley, I had to go see her myself. When I saw her earlier this season, scoring 40 points, 48 points, 30. I said, oh, my Lord, I didn't even know the name. And I played Manchester every year in B-South. Dave and I, man, we can tell you stories, but we don't have enough of time right now. He's a real good coach, and he has a young team. They're all back next year.
Yeah, not one senior.
A lot of players, though. So he has a very limited bench, which forces him to play zone to stay out of foul trouble. In my mind, I believe in all the years that I've coached in the Shore, Devin Quigley is the best junior combo guard I've seen in the Shore. And I've seen a lot.
Yes, you have.
Talking to Dave about her, it's not all about her athletic ability. She's a very academic-minded young lady as well. And you see her demeanor on the court, it's like she doesn't sweat. Now that's unheard of. And I think I had made mention to Doug when I had seen him at one of the games. She is truly one of I don't know. She's a joy to coach. I've never seen a girl knife through a zone with the body movements that she has, and always decide on the right type of shot to finish, whether it land on two or a floater. And then if she misses those, which she rarely does, she fights for the rebound and gets 80% of those for putbacks.
Yep.
She's very hard to guard. I mean, this girl has seen diamond and ones, triple teams, triangle and twos that are basically the twos are on her and the other girls are playing triangle. I think Manchester's going to win this game. I mean, I don't think Point is going to come out with any defense that Manchester hasn't seen. When she's not feeling it from the outside, she gets to the basket and she finishes.
Yep.
When she's deadly from the outside, she's really unstoppable because she has a great pull step back jumper, left or right. She's really smooth. And at the top of that 1-2 zone that they play, she's like an albatross up there. She's got big wings, she's catching everything going cross court. She's truly a good player. I mean, like I said, I think she's the best I've ever seen, but Point Beach is in for a show.
Just to piggyback, if you said with her, she's not feeling it from outside. I think it was her last game, because I get the stats sent to me, 17 for 20 at the foul line, her last game.
I know.
So
she doesn't miss.
Yeah. So you think fouling her, slow her down? No, she's just going to hit all those shots. I mean, we got to see her against Barnegat, and
it's she's a talent.
And
go ahead.
Right before you said about her demeanor, so everybody knows she's the player, right? She gets double, triple team, like you said.
Yep.
She still tries to get her teammates involved.
Absolutely.
And if her young teammates make a mistake, there's no frowning, there's no yelling at them, she pats them on the butt and says, "Hey, we'll get them next time."
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is signs of a great leader.
That's
so
right.
when you have a great leader as a young team, you're going to want to rise to her, to play to her. Obviously not her level, but you're going to want to try to do what you can to help her win because she's such a good kid.
Yeah. I think it was it Donovan Shore? I think somebody hit a 3-pointer for Manchester.
Yep.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And she got more excited, I think, than her teammate did when her teammate made the 3. So,
I watched that. I was at that game, so I saw Manchester. I just had to go see her.
Yeah.
I saw her at a couple other games. She's a joy to watch. She's worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
The next game, probably the most exciting game or interesting game for the first round. Number 11, Shore versus 22, Barnegat.
Okay, so I don't think Will got any favors done for him here because he's going to be playing one of the hottest teams in the Shore. I think probably as a lower seed besides Long Branch, I think Barnegat's starting to play their best ball.
Mm-hmm.
Shore has, I'm going to say Shore probably has the 2 best players on the court. I'm going to say Reese and Riley are probably 2. Kara's a great player. Thornton's a great player. I mean, Barnegat's got some players. Barnegat's athletic. They're quick. Thornton could be an X factor because of her athleticism and the way she gets the basket and the way she rebounds. And we know Shore doesn't have much size. It's going to be close. I think Shore will pull it out, but I think it's going to be close.
I think it's going to be close as well. Like I said, I saw the Manchester Shore game at Donovan. When the seeds came out, I immediately thought that of any team that Barnegat could have had a very good chance of beating would be Shore. I don't think they would have beaten Howell if Central and Barnegat were flip-flopped. So I think Barnegat's sitting at the right spot. When I watched Shore against Manchester at Donovan, they ran their blobs to perfection. You know, baseline out of bounds plays, I call them blobs. They're well executed. And out of the 4 blobs in that game, 2 or 3 were for baskets, and the 4th one had the girl in the right spot, but she just missed the layup. Okay. So they're very well. Against the man, Barnegat does play man. Shaw just spreads you out. And I don't know the names of girls, but I remember the little girl was number 1. The other one was 13, I think. The senior.
The scene number 3.
Dreyhus, was it? No.
Yeah,
Dreyhus is number 3.
Okay, yeah. Very smooth, and they take you to the basket. Now, in Dave's a very good coach. When I saw that game, he plays that 1-2-2, and they're very patient. Sure, very patient. They pass the ball around the perimeter, and once they kick it inside, the 2 big girls, and they're not really tall,
right?
But they know their roles. They're not offensive-minded players, at least in that one game that I saw them. And they would prefer to, once that zone kicked in the middle, they kicked it out to one of those girls. And they would make them shots one after the other, which forced Manchester to go man. And that was a death sentence because if you're not used to playing man, you can't play man. So, like you said, Barnegat was hot. They finished the last part of January, I think, winning 8 out of their last 10 games. I could be wrong there. They had a big win against Central. You saw how they reacted. You were both there. It was like they won the NCAA championship.
Right. Yeah.
But they knew that if they had won, they got to determine who the winner was. So if they go in with that same type of focus, and Shaw doesn't play as well as they did when I saw them against Manchester, I think it's a very, very tight game. Could come down to free throws. I think when I looked at the sheets today, and I looked over both the leading scorers for Shaw, maybe 27, 28 points a game total. And I think that equals McCoy and Thornton's. So that's it's a wash if both those. Now you're looking for the third play to step up. I don't know who that third play could be. So, but I think it's going to be a very close game, and I think that's my upset special. I think Barnegat by 3, and it's going to be determined by free throws. Going on a limb here.
Hey,
I'm
well, we
gonna
have you on. We like this.
I'm gonna go with Shore. Got Dreyhus. Last season took the team to the state final. When she's on, she's tough for anybody to stop. And Reese, she's in the discussion for most improved player in the year. But they did get the toughest matchup.
I think it's a tough match. I mean, I think they're evenly matched.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
And I think the seating position is correct. And sometimes it's just a matter of matchups.
Yep, that's it. Matchup. Moving on down. 10, Red Bank Regional. 23, Keensburg.
Where do I have this one?
I'll lead here.
Oh,
I'll
here we
just
go.
say Red Bank. And enough said. Enough said. Because Johnny's chomping at the bit already because he's looking forward to the next game. But he won't be unprepared.
No.
And he's not the type of coach that's going to really rub it in. He'll get that 20, 25-point lead, and he'll play everybody as he should. So
I agree with you. I think RBR is going to win. I'm interested to see because Nick and I had Lindsay Rivera from Keensburg on a couple of weeks ago. And she's having a great season for Keensburg. I'm interested to see how she plays against some bigger, tougher competition.
Okay.
So that's one thing in the game I'm interested to see. But RBR's size and style of play, it's not going to be close. But give Keensburg credit. They qualified for the first time in many years.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and
something to build on.
Yeah, I just don't think
Absolutely.
RBR. Yeah, it's not going to be close.
Yeah. 15 and 18. 15 Rainy, 18 Long Branch.
Okay. Well, this is my
Toughie.
upset, and I don't. 15-18 is not really a big upset,
No.
but the way Long Branch is playing, they've won 5 of their last 7 games. Randy's lost 4 of their last 7 games, and some of them have not been close. I mean, 20, 25, 30-point losses. Both have senior leaders. You got Hughes for Randy. You have Hepburn for Long Branch. Both teams played a tough division schedule. Both teams are in tough divisions.
Agreed.
I just think now it's going to come down to the recency bias we talked about, where Long Branch is playing better at the end of the year than Randy. So I'm going to pick Long Branch for the upset.
Yeah. Long Branch, I agree with Doug there. I would go with Long Branch as well. They each average, I believe, like anywhere from 45 to 47 points apiece. So offensively, they're going to score some points. 2 ex-JV players, right? Linney and Coyle. That's going to be interesting in and of itself. But I think I've always felt that the team playing better nearer the tournament is the team with the momentum. And in that case, that's why I'm going to take Long Branch.
Sorry, I am going with Long Branch as well. Actually, I'm getting ready. Sophomore Kimmy Sason won Player of the Week. Actually, I was just about to retweet that. It just made it. It's posted on Shore Sports Network.
Awesome.
Congratulations, Kimmy. A sophomore, led the team last year in scoring, is leading the team this year in scoring. So, they got a couple sophomores on the team. So, good future for Long Branch if she could keep building and going in the right direction, which, I think they were just under 500 last year. This year they're over 500, so they're going in the right direction. All right, you want to do round 2 real quick, and then we'll get to a couple fan questions. I'll read you what we picked. So, all right. 1 seed St. John Vianney versus the 16 Marlboro.
Vianney.
Vianney. Yeah. We really don't need to go in depth with that game. Next game, 8 Toms River North against Homedale. Kind of spoke on it a little bit. Toms River North, home court advantage. They just played last week, 5-point game, but Homedale was missing their center, Mackenzie.
I think I'm going to have the tables turned here. I think I'm going to pick Homedale. And even though North's at home and they won last week, I just think Homedale's got something to play for, and I'm going to go with Homedale.
I'm going to go with North because they're home. And I think the fact, even though they beat Homedale without the big girl from Homedale, will play in the minds of the players and as well as Vicky. And I'm sure she's going to harp about that particular fact. And she's home. She wants to protect home court. So I think Vicky wins in a very tight battle as well.
I agree. I'm going with Toms River North. Megan Sias has played brilliant this year, coming back from ACL injury last year, averaging a double-double. Torres has been great on both sides of the ball. Julia, when she's hot, is tough to guard out there. So I'm going to go with Toms River North as well.
Okay.
5 seed Trinity Hall hosting Howell.
Trinity's beat them twice this year.
Yeah.
The
By
second
double
time
digits.
was a little, I don't think that anything's going to change. Trinity Hall's going to win.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that too. Just so everyone knows, Doug and I will do a podcast on Friday to talk about the quarterfinals.
Coach, if you want to join us again for more predictions, you are
thanks for the
more than
thanks for the
welcome to
invite,
come on.
guys. I accept.
All right.
Next round, Jackson Memorial at St. Rose.
This could be an interesting game.
It could be.
I think Rachel will definitely have her team pumped up, and she's such a great motivator. She'll probably have her brother come in and talk to the team again. And Scotty's a great motivator, and she's gonna pull out all the stops. I just don't think they have enough to beat St. Rose, but it could be a close game. Should be a close game.
Yeah, I go with St. Rose on that one as well.
As do I. 3 seed Manasquan hosting Manchester, 14 seed.
Again, this could be another interesting game.
Very interesting game.
Because nobody has it. I mean, other than St. John Vianney, maybe nobody has a Devin Quigley. And I know Manasquan's a very athletic team. They've got some kids off the bench. They can throw different looks at Devin. I think Manasquan has just enough to beat Manchester. So again, I think in a what should be a close one, I think I'll take Manasquan.
Wow, you're right. I mean, I'm sure Squan is going to be watching as many tapes as they can on Huddle. The coach is going to be very, very well prepared. I haven't seen Manasquan play. I just know about them from what I've read in the papers. But I do know this Devon girl, and I mean, if this girl comes to play, and she's seen many, many defenses, she's a very, very special type of player, and she's the type of girl that can keep it close.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that if they fall behind and they go to their man, I think Manasquan sets are too they're solid. They like I say, don't beat themselves. And that's where it's going to play out. So I'm going to take Squan. Sorry, buddy. I know you're probably listening to this, cursing me out, but I just got to go what I believe in my heart. But go Devin.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Manasquan. Too many weapons, 80 underneath, too. Could cause a little problems for Devin getting to the hoop. Katie's got those long arms too, like Devin does. So, but I'm gonna go with Manasquan. Just too many weapons.
Yeah.
So next round, Doug and me have Shore versus Rumson, and Coach, you have Barnegat and Rumson.
Go ahead,
I'll
Coach.
go first. If I go first?
Yes.
Can I go first? Seems I'm the only one that chose Barnegat. Either team is not in the same talent-wise as RFH. I mean, I haven't seen their games. They play a way better schedule, a better out of short conference schedule. They're legit, and that's a team that's well coached. Not to saying that either of Shaw and Barnegat are not well coached. I'm not saying that, but I know Dave does a great job up there, and I don't see them either team beating Rumson. So I'll go with Rumson.
Yeah, and I think these games start to come down to why Dave plays that schedule.
That's right.
Because these are games that he should win, and he's going to win. I think Rumson's going to win this one.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Rumson. The last time Shore was there for a postseason, Rumson got out to a nice lead. Shore was able to get it close into the fourth, but Rumson, their strength of schedule, like you guys said, there's a reason he puts that schedule together.
Right.
One of the hardest schedules, in the Shore. He doesn't back down from any competition, and his team plays that way. His team doesn't back down from anybody. So
talk about a great individual battle also with Drejos and Corsentino. So
yes,
yeah, that should be fun to watch.
Yeah. So next game, Ocean versus Red Bank Regional.
Go ahead, Coach. You're on the JT Express.
I got to find in my cheat sheet here. Ocean, and I have RB. We all have RBI, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've only seen Ocean once, and I saw them on tape, like I said earlier. The Drejos girl, that's the right girl, right? She's not an Ocean.
No, that's Shore.
It's Clark.
The Clark sisters, right?
Yeah.
Very good. I mean, I know Johnny's offense probably better than he does. The amount of times I faced him, and he'll probably be the first one to say that that's true. I think that his deliberate style of play, he gets the maximum amount of effort from every girl that does play. Each girl knows their role. They know who the shooters are. They know who the passers are. They know who the rebounders and etc. There's a lot of camaraderie on that bench all the time. All the teams I faced when I faced John F. Central and I was at Donovan, they were all spirited games, but we both knew each other so well. I mean, we were on the Tom's River East coaching staff many black hairs ago. So I just think that his style of play is going to be the difference maker. And he's going to be very well prepared too. Johnny is a Duke tactician, and he sees something he can capitalize on. Well, he knows what he can capitalize through game tape review.
Yep.
And each coach is going to know a lot of each other, but I think Johnny's going to come through in this one.
And you said he's got that game marked with RBC, so he's going to do everything he can to get through to this one.
That's right.
I think it's going to be a great game.
I think so too.
I think if RBR had Cameron picking RBR, this one I think Ocean squeaks by.
Oh.
If they do, it will be a squeaker because that game will be played.
Yes.
It's going to be at Ocean.
It's gonna be a low scoring.
Because Johnny will take the air out of the ball if he needs to.
Yep.
And he will backdoor you to death.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not prepared for it, the backdoor will be swinging back and forth every possession.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that coach is going to be prepared for it. But Johnny's very well prepared. Take a minute off. Take a minute and a half off. And people might fall asleep during this match. But you're going to see a great game.
Yep. Break the tie, Nick. Break the tie. Let's go.
I'm going with RBR or stronger schedule. This is where the schedules play a big part.
Absolutely.
The wins and losses during the season. You can have more losses, but who are they to?
That's true.
And I think it's going to come down to the very end. It's going to be I think it will be low scoring, like you said, too. But I'm going to go with RBR. This will be Ocean's, they actually met last year in the short conference. Short conference or group 3? They met in the postseason, Ocean and RBR, and RBR got the win.
Mm-hmm.
But Ocean, I hope next year they put together a little tougher schedule during the season, so they'll be ready for these games. But it's going to be a tight game, and if the Clark sisters are shooting like they did against Shore Regional, there's not going to be enough backdoor cuts for JT's team because they were lights out. And Janine had a very big game yesterday against Heightstown. If they get her scoring like that too, and Ocean is probably one of the most unselfish teams out there. Sometimes I think they're a little too unselfish one because everybody touches the ball. But I'm going to go with RBR.
It's one of those classic matchups of Ocean's backcourt versus RBR's front court. Holloway's she's been playing lights out and Munson's lights out. So it's going to be one of those front court versus backcourt matchups, and it could go either way. I'm going to stick with Ocean.
All right, last game we'll talk about. All three of us picked Long Branch against RBC.
Yeah, RBC. Case closed.
Yeah. Yes, RBC as well. So
that's what makes this tournament so exciting. There's certain teams you just fine. You know who's going to win, and then you're going to get quite a few teams that are going to go at it. There's going to be a lot of excitement. Some could be very high scoring. You might have a girl score 50 points. You hear me, Devin? It's very possible, and you're going to see a lot of exciting games, and that's what this tournament brings to the shore.
Yep.
And you guys are doing a beautiful job for the last few years now, bringing attention to the shore conference.
That was the goal.
That was the goal, and I think you're on the right path, and I commend you for what you guys have been doing.
Thank you. All right. We got a couple fan questions, and then we're going to wrap this up.
I just
So
want you. This is the first time we're taking fan
yeah,
questions.
this is the very first
so
time we're doing this. Yeah.
we did get some classics that we're not going to.
Yeah.
There was
I
some
can't
Yeah,
fun
some
imagine.
ones.
questions we can't bring out there. But the first question actually came from a soccer parent that I'm very close with. But we're going to answer it for basketball purposes. Which coach or staff do you feel has done the best job turning a program around in the last couple of years?
One team.
No,
One.
we could bring up a couple.
Okay.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go
Okay.
first.
All right. So I have 3. And it's not to say that there's not more,
Mm-hmm.
but my 3 in the last couple of years of people that have really turned their programs around. First, Shannon Coyle at Long Branch.
My
Long
number
Branch.
one. Absolutely.
Long Branch has long been a doormat in girls basketball, and Shannon's done a great job of making them relevant again. Fantastic job this year. You said close to 500 last year, 6 or 7 games over 500 this year, and I think she's one. Will at Shore is another one. Will's done a great job at Shore. Now, back in the days when Coach and I were coaching, Shore had a couple of great players, great teams, but they're up and down. It's a Group 1 school. The size of the schools, But Will consistently has his team in games and prepared and does a great job with his team, no matter what game they're playing, no matter what team they're playing. Advantage, disadvantage, his X's and O's are superb. Like Coach said, his baseline out of bounds plays probably second to none
Beautiful
in a long time. And the third, I think, is Colleen Wisher at Wall. Another team that, Wall's had some success in years, but not a consistent success. Colleen's got some players. She knows she's a great coach. I believe, I got to ask her, but I believe she played under one of my favorite phys ed teachers from high school, Tom Weston at Mondon. Tommy's been around a long time.
I could tell you right now because I got Colleen in the 2002 state championship.
All right, you tell me. See if Tom Weston's a coach. Tom's a great coach.
Tom was the coach. She played for Tom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nick's gonna see. I am getting old sometimes.
Yeah, I remember when I was at Tom's River East with Kevin, we played Wall, and Tom was the coach, and Colleen was she was a real good high school player.
Yeah, she was.
She was tall, she was gangly, man. She knew her stuff.
Weston was the assistant coach that year.
Okay.
Oh, the
all right, then Tom
the
took
coach?
Over as who was it?
Tom Rideau.
Tom Rideau. Tom Rideau. Okay.
Rideau,
the former AD.
Yeah,
right. Randy, right? Yeah, or AD. Yeah, Tom. But Weston eventually ended up the head coach. But yeah, so Colleen's done a great job. Consistently has her team ready to play. Unfortunately, they missed out on a short conference this year. One of those teams I think that probably could have pulled an upset. But yeah, those are my 3 of coaches that have turned their programs around.
How long has Shannon Coyle been at Long Branch? 5 years, 6 years,
4 years, 5, something
around
in that range.
Okay, now I think that she was one of the teams. That was one of the teams who I would have said as well, Doug. She not only came in, she turned that program around right away. Her teams became competitive right away.
Yeah, because she had a really good team. One of her first years with Fields.
I know that when she came, boom.
Yeah,
and I don't know how many years she's made the short conference. I don't really follow all the teams, but I know that that's one of the teams that I think have shown a great amount of progress over the last 4 or 5 years. The other one, okay, I don't know whether you might agree with me. I think Manchester, and it's not because of Devin. Okay, Dave and I were in the division when I was in the division. When I first started, we easily handled Manchester.
Yeah.
Okay. Not that we were a powerhouse or anything, but they had their problems against Point, and they had their problems against Wall when Wall was in our division. And then let's see, when he got the Adams girl, and then Dakota came. Then we
Deja was the first Adams. Deja was the
Yeah.
first Adams. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Dakota.
So he's won 7 in a row. Okay. My last 4 years I shared B South with Manchester or Point, and I only won it once by myself at Donovan. So he has consistently shown progress, but he took a little time building that program. And he was fortunate enough to have some very talented girls. And now they're all gone, but he still has a stud. And she's going to be here next year with all those youngsters having a whole year's worth of experience. So there's no, he might be, and with Central losing 3 big seniors, Barnegas losing Kara, I would think that he's the favorite to win B-South, his 8th in a row. So I think Manchester is a program that certainly could be considered as one of the programs that has improved the most. And those are my 2 teams.
I agree with Dave. I went more recent, but
Right.
Dave's had but yeah, I think if Dave's in our short list of candidates for Coach of the Year this year for the job he's done with Manchester. Absolutely. So but yeah, I your 2 choices are spot on.
Okay.
I agree with Doug. We talked about it a little before the podcast, but I also Matt McCarthy at Trinity Hall, I'm going to throw in there too. Getting that, taking that private school and making it, they're 5th this year in the short conference tournament, and he's building a culture. He's getting the players to come in now, because he's doing such a good job there. So I'm going to throw Matt McCarthy in there from Trinity Hall as well. So, all right, next question. I'm going to read it word for word. This is from a basketball former coach. As I sit here on Sunday watching #1 South Carolina women's team, the #1 team in the country, play the #3 team in the country, UConn, the 2 best programs of the last decade, it got me thinking about how we, the fans, and the players have missed out on so many SJV RBC games with all the great players those schools have had. Why do you think they don't play each year at least once? And why do you think they are not in the same division where we could get 2 games each year, since the schools are only 1 exit apart on the Parkway?
You want that one first, Coach, or you want me to go?
Wow. Well, it would be a very good idea. I mean, because, thinking off the top of my head, how many teams are in the Shore? 40?
44, I think.
Roughly,
44.
yeah.
So let's say you have 6th division, 44, you have maybe 7 teams. Now, how are you going to break 7 teams from the 7 superior or very superior, 7 that are superior, 7 that are good, 7 that are fair? It's going to be hard. And it might even be an embarrassment to some of the schools who don't fare as well as the St. John Vianney's of the world or the RBCs of the world. I think geographically, though, I think the divisions are a little somewhat out of whack looking at them from this year. I think we spoke about this before the podcast. I think certainly they could keep some of the schools who are closer together in the same divisions, regardless of group.
Yeah.
To me, that doesn't really matter, because if you have talent, talent's going to win. So I think to the actual question, if you wanted to see something like that, you'd have to, I think, put out a survey or a questionnaire to every head coach and every AD and see where the feeling is about that particular question.
Now, they used to play every year.
Who? St. John Vianney, RBC?
Yes.
Well, they're going to play each other in the parochial with a state tournament. Am I right?
Yeah.
They're in the same division.
They should meet, and they should meet.
And they're saying, well, St. John Vianney might be up north, and RBC
they're both in South Jersey. Yeah.
But there was a point where St. John Vianney was not in South Jersey.
I don't know, since I've been back, St.
Well,
John
maybe that's
Vianney.
one of the reasons why they don't play each other, because they know they're going to meet up. They could possibly meet up in the finals here. Hey, listen. Do I think that RBC belongs in the same division as St. John Vianney? Yeah, absolutely. If I had
now soccer.
I don't know how soccer does it.
Well, they make changes every year to make the divisions more competitive. That way, St. John Vianney's not playing Frielborough twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
They make adjustments and to try to make the divisions more competitive every year. Where basketball, St. John Vianney's, they play Matawan, Raritan, and Frielborough.
Raritan, Frielborough.
Yeah, which we had Dawn on last year, and she would like a more challenging, play the better teams in the shore, instead of going outside the shore or even outside New Jersey.
I wonder. I don't really know St. John Vianney's schedule, but I would imagine that she plays each school in her division twice.
Yes,
and all her pickup games are out of the Shore Conference.
Basically,
I would imagine that's pretty close, and I don't fault her for that. I mean, where else is she going to get the caliber of play that she has in that schedule with playing teams in the Shore Conference? She's not.
Right.
So
100%.
I agree with what she does with her program, and she does a great job at that program, by the way.
Yeah.
What I like to see, I think the team is more geographically positioned. A case in point, my good friend Dave over in Point Borough. When I saw the divisions come out, I sent him a text. I said, "Oh, I'm really sorry, man. You're going to have a rough road." And he said, pretty much, I'm not going to quote what he said in the text, but he said, "Yeah, that's not good." Point Borough should be in B South with Donovan and Central and Lacey and Pinelands. We're South and with Manchester. Why put Wall? Was it Monmouth and somebody else? Monmouth, Ocean, and somebody else.
No,
down
Sure.
Yeah, in the Central. Look how many schools are right there around Wall. Wall, Neptune, Long Branch,
St. Rose, Manasquan.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that I don't know whether they change it every year or not.
2 years.
Every 2 years in basketball.
Yeah.
So Dave, sorry, Dave, you're in there for one more year at the very least.
Actually, is this the second year? No, this is the first.
No, it's the first year.
But they were in that division last year too, though.
Yeah.
They were with Wall and.
They were.
I'm pretty sure because I know it was Wall, Rainey, St. Rose, Manasquan, I think, and Neptune. I think Borough was the other team in it last year. I'm not 100% sure, but I think because C South is the new division. D South is the new division with Ocean and Shore Regional in C South against Donovan. That's the weird one.
Yeah, that's a real weird one.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
No, I can't fathom that one at all.
So I have two thoughts on that question.
Go right ahead.
One, if soccer can make it work, there's no reason why basketball shouldn't be able to make it work. Okay. And two, Coach just touched on it. Dawn's schedule is second to none. She will play anybody at any time, anywhere. So if you are asking why those teams don't play, I'll leave it at that.
You just cut out real quick, Doug. Repeat what you just said.
You gotta repeat that.
I said, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I said, one, if soccer can make it work, basketball should be able to make it work.
We got that.
And number two, with the schedule that Dawn plays, she'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Right.
So if the question is why those two teams don't play, don't ask Dawn.
Yeah. And that is the consensus around the short. So
the consensus is what? That they should play more often?
Yes, they should play at least once during the regular season.
I would agree to that. Well, look at the showcase. They had a showcase day, right? Wasn't RBC and St. John Vianney in it?
Yeah.
Playing different teams?
That's a little different because they try to phrase it as short teams versus non-short teams.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that The showcase is a little different. But speaking of that, RBC played Franklin. Probably should have played Rutgers Prep, who is a top 5 team in the state, and Franklin's not ranked in the top 20.
Uh,
Um, and Rumson got stuck with Rutgers Prep, and I didn't see the score, but I'm sure it wasn't pretty.
And you said Corsentino did not play today, correct? So
No,
yeah,
I think that was more precaution, though. So,
okay.
All right, last question.
go ahead.
What qualifications do you think the field for the short conference tournament should have in order to be in it? Currently, you have to be 500 or over, but that doesn't always mean you get the right teams in the field. 2 of the better teams, Point Borough and Wall, are watching this year. Do you think a change is needed in order to have the best field year after year?
Can I start with this one?
Yes.
I have a thought on this. Yes, changes need to be made. And from what I see of other counties and conferences around the state, is that every team, the tournament, every team's invited to the tournament. You can choose to not participate. If a coach feels like, hey, what am I doing in this? I don't want to be in this. You can choose not to participate, but invite every team in the short conference to participate. Some teams won't. Okay. And you can have, instead of playing meaningless out of conference games or division games, start the tournament a little earlier, like most other conferences in the state do. Start it with some preliminary games. Then you whittle those preliminary down to 32, then the 16-8, obviously to 4-1. But invite every team to participate. Some teams won't. Some teams won't participate. But I think that's the only fair way to get everybody in the tournament is to invite everybody.
Yeah.
Choose to accept or not, that's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then teams like Point Borough and Wall, who Coach just touched on this, by no fault of their own, get stuck in a division where they'll lose 6 games, during the season. They have a chance. And I think those 2 teams, the way they're playing, could have pulled an upset or been competitive in a short conference.
Point Borough just beat Point Beach by 10 last week. The cutoff day, Friday, the cutoff day. I think Wall could win against anybody if they're playing good, probably 9 on, 10 on. They're playing St. Rose and Manasquan. There's 4 losses right there. So, granted, probably there's games there that they lost that they should have won, but still, the way it's worked out, you got some of the weaker divisions getting 2 teams on, where Wall, the 3rd place team in the division, is better, would win that division. So that's my thoughts.
Those are
you got anything to add on that, Coach?
Yeah, I agree with Doug. I mean, I think it should be open to all the teams. And I think at one point, many years ago, when I was on the staff of the Toms River Girls with Bill Hewitt, I don't remember if there was the same type of a format like it is now, where we had to be over 500, or they invited all the teams and some teams didn't go. But I remember Toms River East having, I don't know, a 27 seed maybe, or 32 seed. And we won our first 2 games. And that year, we made it all the way to Brookdale. And I remember this vividly. I remember Coach went out and got pink shirts and with the word Cinderella on the back. And that's what we came out on the court with, those shirts. I mean, the kids were so pumped. And I believe that was the semis, if I'm not mistaken. But there's a case in point. A team gets invited or chooses to go, and everything falls into place. You're playing hot. You're playing with house money, and you're just rolling through. And it's a great thing for the girls.
Yep.
So, in that respect, it should be open. And like every team would probably not choose to go in for a variety of reasons, and it could work. Let's assume that you had 30 teams instead of 23 now. 30, let's say 30 that decide to go in, regardless of record. The way the schedule changed this year, they pushed all the games up. So you have more time in between the end of the season and the states. So instead of starting on Tuesday of this week, let's assume we started on a Monday, and you play Wednesday, then you play Friday, and you play Monday and Wednesday, and then the championship at the weekend before the states. So it's doable. I think it's doable.
Right.
It's doable.
So right.
But you take a team like Point, okay, where they just beat Point Beach, right? The Battle of Point Pleasant. That's a rivalry game, right? Yeah. Does Dave would Dave say yes to go? I would certainly think they would say, yeah, I want to go in.
Yeah.
Wall too.
Yeah.
Wall's a very good team. Just they didn't have a 500 record. And then you look at some of these teams that are in here, who knows? Those like anywhere from 15 down. That's toss-up games.
Yep.
So it makes for a more exciting tournament. You get more fans invited. The whole shore community, you say, yeah, we got a team in there, let's go. And they have a chance to maybe win a game or two or go on a roll like Tom Zarice did back 20 years ago. It's possible. And it adds a lot of excitement. And it's a good thing for the girls.
I agree. All right. Doug, anything you want to end on?
No, just looking forward to the games this week. I'm going to try to get to as many as we can on Tuesday and Thursday. And I think Sunday is the quarterfinals, right?
Yeah. Who decided to put the quarterfinals
on
the Super Bowl
Sunday? Do we have game times yet?
Not for the
I hope
quarters.
It's 9, 11, 1, and 3, but I don't think they're going to be starting at 9 o'clock.
Now, I'm going to guess the first one's at 10.
10, 12, 2, and 4. That means the last game's ending when the Super Bowl's starting. It's a little tough. I don't think you're really going to get the fan participation you really wanted because of that. And that's tough. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know why, especially since the round before is on Thursday, so you still would have had that day
Saturday.
Right?
We don't know because the first two rounds are Tuesday and Thursday.
Right, exactly.
So I don't
day off.
I don't know what the decision. I'm guessing the boys are Saturday.
No, I think they're the same.
The
boys are Tuesday, Thursday also. So I think
really.
Yes, the boys are Tuesday, Thursday. I don't know if their quarters are Saturday, but I know they play Tuesday, Thursday also. So that's also going to create some double headers with teams like Manasquan and St. Rose who have teams highly seeded. You're going to have double headers. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I don't
know. The seating committee has to work on for next year.
Yeah.
Another dilemma.
Yeah.
But let me say before you guys, I had a blast. Thanks for inviting me, Doug. I mean, I've been coaching quite some time, getting back in the thick of things and thinking about coaches that I've had great relationships over the past with, talking about those teams. It was a lot of fun tonight, and I look forward to Friday.
And Nick and I, when we talked last year about trying to get you on, and Nick and I decided this would be a perfect time to have you come on, and because we had questions about the conference and how the teams are seated and the meetings and all this stuff, and who better than you to add your insight, and we appreciate you coming on, and like I said, lucky to have you as a friend and a person of knowledge we can go to with questions, and Nick and I appreciate it, and we're looking forward to Friday as well.
Thank you so much, guys.
The boys are playing the quarters on Saturday. So that's why.
Again, well, look, that's going to be another bone of contentions because the girls always feel like second-class citizens, right? So you're both playing your first two games on Tuesday, Thursday. Then why do the boys get Saturday and the girls get Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah. And considering the girls' talent in the shore is better than the boys' talent.
Recently, definitely.
You said that, not me.
I always say it. So.
All right, guys. I have to sign off on my end.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
I'll see you down the road for sure.
Yeah, we'll
Keep
see
in
you
touch,
Friday.
Doug. Nick, thank you again.
You got it.
No problem, Coach.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was fun.
He's a good guy. He's a very good guy. Good man, well-respected, great coach. I don't think he doesn't like when I talk about him like that, but he really is. So he had it. Listen, he had some great insight that you and I had no
No,
clue about. So,
so I appreciate it.
and yeah, so we're looking forward to Friday for our next quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, Friday we'll talk about. We're still ironing out what games Tuesday. We got me and Doug have 2 games circled, and Thursday's going to be interesting. Hopefully, we can get a couple different times, get the 2 games, because
Yeah, hopefully there's like 4 and 6:30s or
because Ocean RBR be a game and Homedale Thompson North be a fun game to
another
be
one
at.
rematch. And there's a couple games.
Yeah, Robson
Yeah,
Shore. Well,
yeah.
if Shore has to win and RBR has to win.
Jackson St. Rose would be
Yeah,
a good one.
yeah. So
Yeah, so the couple interesting matchups in that 16 round of 16.
yeah. So all right. Thank you guys. Think the hour and a half. Nice
Yeah,
long podcast. And probably post on Twitter again if anybody has any questions.
and let's keep that going. Some of those
Yeah, that was fun.
questions are pretty good.
So,
Yeah.
all right, Doug, have a good night.
All right, guys, take care.